I'm Eric Loy, and welcome to Eric Loy Interviews. On this podcast, we talk with folks from the VTuber community on their channels, their talents, their stories, where they come from, and their plans for the future. Signe Jackdaw joins us, and hello.
Hello.
Please introduce yourself.
Oh, hello. I'm Signe Jackdaw. I'm a choreograph VTuber on Twitch.
Who is obsessed with film.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with film. Yeah.
So, first of all, when did you get started on VTubing?
It's not been a long time. It's been like 1-2 months. It's not been a long time.
Wow. So we're catching you early in your career.
You are, yeah. It's really not been a long time. Feels like yesterday.
So why did you get started? Is this something that you watched other VTubers and wanted to give it a try?
Okay, that's kind of a sad story.
Oh.
It's complicated, you know. I always watched VTubers, more like corporate VTubers.
Right.
But I always watched it. And something happened in my life. I have a cat.
Oh.
And she sadly passed away.
Oh no.
But the hospital bill was extremely expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to work, you know? I have to work.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I watch VTubers. I play a lot of video games. Why not make profit out of it? So that's why I started being a VTuber.
Well, you know, everybody's got different reasons for doing it. And as an owner of 9 cats now, yeah, we have two indoor cats and 7 that have adopted us. So, yeah, one very recently, and so we know how that goes, especially when they're not in. Like, oh no, we worry about every single one of them. But so you had a reason to do it, but you're gonna. I mean, this is something that you were watching before, weren't you?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't want it to, you know? I think, like, I see a lot of VTubers have those, like, really passions about this stuff, and, like, I started VTubing because it's cool and I wanna meet people and stuff. I think my reasoning isn't that beautiful. It's just I need money, basically. But still, like, I stick out because I created a community that I enjoy, you know?
Yeah.
If I wasn't happy, I wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah,
I did start for the money, but I'm sticking out because of more, you know?
Yeah. Well, I don't blame you one bit. I mean, as if you're having fun with it, that's the big thing. If you're enjoying yourself and you know what you want to do with it, it's big. So tell me about this.
Yeah.
Tell me about this film obsession.
Oh, yeah. I'm completely obsessed with film. I'm starting a film school really soon.
Ooh.
Which will just improve my obsession.
Oh yeah. So So when we say film obsession, are we talking any types of movies? What type of thing?
All films. If it's a film, I enjoy it. I think I started off like early watching a lot of like films in TV, like those open TV channels, and I just loved it because I think it's like, you know, when you read a book and you have to like actually read it, and it increases the creativity in yourself. But like sometimes you just want to watch something, you know, like it's a type of art that clearly shows to people something.
Right.
And you can put like references on it, but like it is on the screen.
Yep. Yeah.
And I just thought it was so cool. So since I was a child, I was like I love film, all films.
Did you want to act? Did you want to direct? Did you want to film, or all of those?
Oh no, not acting. No.
but
no, I don't like being in the spotlight.
Yeah, but you did want to be a part of it anyway.
I want to be in the production.
Yeah.
Because what I really like is color.
Mm-hmm.
I always loved colors.
Yeah.
And I think the effect that color gives to your true film is really cool. You know.
So I gotta ask. I gotta ask you this as a you're a film aficionado and enthusiast. When you see films now, of course, you know, the technology and all the CGI and all that stuff, and compare it to films from the color films from the 40s and 50s and early 60s. Do you think the color is better now or better then for those big productions?
That is relative, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think the quality of the color itself is better now,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that it was more taught before,
Mm-hmm.
if you know what I mean.
Right.
Because back, I mean, right now it's really expensive to make film,
Mm-hmm.
but back then it was way more. So everything had to be like extremely cared about, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Yeah.
So like every single part of the films, like the old films, were there because they were meant to be, and all the colors were there because someone wanted it to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, although it is still like this, I feel like there's not that much of care, you know?
Right. Right. Yeah. They took a lot of precautions to make sure everything was exactly right because they couldn't fix it in the computer room later.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah. Folks don't realize these days when you actually have a film, an actual film, how tough it is to
Yeah,
edit.
yeah.
Um,
Editing is stuff.
when you actually have a physical copy of the film on film, your editing um, isn't it just point and click and hit the button and hit the next button. It's very tedious to go through.
Yeah. Uh, and like you can't do something by yourself when you're doing that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to go through a lot of people to actually like if you want to edit something like let's say change the color of an object in the screen, you can't just do it. You have to like pass through many people to get it approved,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Oh yeah,
So
you're not on
although
your
like
own.
the process is tedious, like you have so many people involved.
Oh yeah. Now imagine now with all of the equipment that is there now. Take it back to 1945 and and
Oh my god.
and try to edit that. And we talk about when they talk about one of the tropes that's used in the film industry is that part was left on the cutting room floor because that's where it was left. It was when it was literally physically cut out of the film. It was thrown onto the floor.
Yeah, exactly.
Have
Like the,
we?
the
It,
film itself.
oh
Ugh.
yeah. Have you used or worked with that type of film in the past?
With the like the actual like
Reels.
paper film, is that
Yeah.
how it called?
Yeah.
Real?
Yeah.
I did a little project in school of it, but I didn't like cut it. I was just looking at it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm still really young
Hmm.
in the film world.
Hmm.
I'm just obsessed with it. Never really worked on it yet.
Yeah.
But I did like 4 years of class on it already.
Hmm.
Uh, More theory than practice though.
Mm. Well, you got to know the
Which the
theory.
theory,
Yeah.
yeah, the theory amazes me a lot.
Yeah.
Way more than the actual practical work, but again, it doesn't give that much money.
Do you now that you've gotten a little bit of more education into it and being a an enthusiast, does it frustrate you when you see a film that's not particularly well made?
Oh yeah, I get so mad. It like oh my god. I mean, excluding my personal preference, I mean, of course I have like specific genres that I like and everything. When I watch a film, I don't think about this. I think about the how well produced it is. And there's some of them that it's just painful to see. Like, oh
Well,
my god.
it's sometimes you watch an editing of a film, and I'm no expert when it comes to this stuff, but even the average person can see when a film is badly edited
Yeah.
and out of
And
order
like
or just
when you actually watch something like after studying it, you can't just watch films normally anymore. You have to like be like specifically taking care of everything. Like I don't know. I think about like musicians and how they like listen to music because I can't watch films anymore without thinking about like, oh my god, they used this technique and they did this bad. Like it hurts a little bit, you know?
oh yeah. You find that you're not able to enjoy the film for just being a film as much anymore.
Yeah,
Oh, that's too
not
bad.
that much, but I still love it.
Hmm.
But like I love it because of the production of it, not necessarily because it is a film anymore.
Hmm.
I
Oh,
think like my love for film like surpassed the fact that it is a film, you know?
So do you watch the old black and white films at any time?
I do sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. What did you? Well, how do you feel that compares with modern filmmaking, or have you thought about that?
Um, I watched one last week actually.
Hmm.
A very famous one, the Bicycle Thief or something like that. It's
Uh
like
huh.
a very old Italian film.
Oh yes. Um.
I watched that one
Yeah.
last week, I think.
So what did you think of the production of
And
that?
again, I think everything is so thought about and so like every single part of the film is there because of something. But also, it was recorded outside, right? So many of those films were recorded outside because they didn't have like studios
Hmm.
to make like anything.
Right.
So I guess the fact that it was recorded outside kind of gives more like authenticity to the film. Because the people behind the like screen, the sceneries weren't like they didn't know they were in a film, right?
Right.
So it gives more of a, like day to day idea. Like I don't know, I like it more because
Yeah.
of that. I think.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite films, and well, actually, is my favorite film is Duck Soup by the
Bicycle
Mar
Thief?
my
Oh,
Duck Soup by the Marx
that
Brothers. Um, and
maybe.
if you look at it, yeah, I'm sure that you could pick it apart with little bits of things, but that's not why I look at a film. I look at a film just to laugh at it. You're looking at films differently now. Um,
Yeah.
it is it make it does it make it tough for you to look forward to films coming out if you know who the certain person is doing it and if they're not particularly well thought of?
Yeah.
Uh.
Yeah. Just yes. I can't really go much more than just straight up yes.
Yeah, I imagine it does get a little tough, but that's just
But
it.
also there are many good films that are coming up.
Yeah.
There are many like really good directors that are alive right now. They're amazing. There are a lot of indie films. I
Mm,
think the indie filmmaking industry is really powerful. They just don't get enough attention because well, they're indies.
right.
But I mean, there are many like mainstream directors that are also really good. So I think it's just there are many good films coming up. You just gotta look for it.
Yeah.
You won't find it like if you look on Twitter, but like if you scroll through Twitter, you won't find good films. But there are many.
Hmm. Yeah, you have to go out and look for them though, and there
Yeah, you gotta find it
and there are many
yourself.
many
Yeah,
places to find them. So if you're looking for a specific film, especially one that's made in the last 20 years, somebody's got it somewhere that you can watch.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
the library is out there. Well, let's talk about your
It's you can.
yeah. Let's talk about your channel a little bit. What do you like streaming? What type of games?
I do more anything. I stream a variety of games.
Yeah,
Anything that I want to play in the day, I will stream it.
yeah.
Right now, I'm playing a lot of Hollow Knight.
Okay, tell me about what draws you to that game.
Um, everything goes back to me like in film. That's amazing. I think the colors in Hollow Knight are just so pretty,
Yeah.
and I saw someone like playing some years ago. And like, I need to play it. So I played it like 2 years ago, and I got amazed by it.
Yeah.
And I started streaming. I was like, I gotta play Hollow Knight. Come on.
it,
So
it,
yeah,
it's funny that's carried over your love of film and your interest in it has carried over into your choice of video games you play.
I think everything in my life kind of is like goes around me like in film. Anything less, I can give an answer of that's because I like film.
Well, do you think you might find yourself doing something along those lines later on? I mean, video games now more and more often are using pre-recorded uh, parts. You can almost make a movie out of some of these cutscenes that are in video games. Do you think you might see yourself in a career that way?
Maybe. I definitely want to go through like VTubing is not something that I see myself doing 10 years, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Although I like doing it, film is my major passion.
Mm-hmm.
So I do want to go through the path of filmmaking, whatever it is on like actual films or I don't know commercials or games, anything. As
Yeah.
long as it's related to the film industry, I'll be there.
What would be the ideal film job for you?
Do you know what cinematography is?
I know how to spell it.
Oh, that's more than me already.
It is. It's the actual framing of a shot, isn't it?
Uh, yes,
Okay.
but there's a specific profession, the
Hmm.
cinematographer,
Right.
that does that.
Yeah.
Uh, is more of like the art of
Mm.
the film itself. You know how in the Oscar they have like best art
Mm-hmm.
in the film, like that specifically is what I most like.
Ah. So you like the scenery setting up the shots.
Yeah, like
Mm.
the composition of the whole shot,
Mm.
and I think that's the reason why I like Hollow Knight so much. Because like the composition of each like room in Hollow Knight is just so artistic and beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And it's
It's
just
it's yeah.
yeah. It definitely just it creates the atmosphere and sets the
Yeah, it
scene.
does.
Yeah. So have
Yeah,
you?
it's all about the choices that they make, like the artistic intention of whoever made it.
Yeah. So if have you ever watched any of those old classic Western films of cowboys and that type of thing?
Yeah.
Do you see those big opening shots of the um, usually just establishing shots of the field or the area that they're in, mountains and trees and everything? What
Yeah.
what do you think of those shots when you see them and the technology that they had to use at the time?
Are you talking about we call it long shots? It's like
Yeah, yeah,
the ones that you can see the
yeah.
whole like, for example, the city that the cowboys are getting into.
Right, right.
That's amazing how it's like actually impressive how they made it. I'm not a familiar of how they made it, but like how it turns out to be, it's pretty good.
Mm,
Like all technology of they had in the past, uh, it's the films are too good to compare to the technology they had.
yeah.
I think the film that got me more like shocked about how they made it. Oh, what's the name of the film in English? Wait, oh God, it's by Buñuel. I don't remember the name in English. Oh, it's
Oh,
a very famous film where they cut the eye of a bull. I don't
oh,
remember the name in English.
oh my. I I think I know what you're talking about, but
It's very famous.
yeah,
The shot itself.
yeah,
Don't remember. Salvador Dali was involved with the film as well. I don't remember the name. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
But this film got me like really into filming because like it was made like on the 40s, I think, 30s,
yeah.
and they had such a good like effects. I
Mm-hmm.
think
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
know. It's impressive.
Well, they really had to come up with inventive ways of doing things because again, you can't just add it in later on CGI because there wasn't any. Uh,
Exactly.
you had to figure out some way for point A to get to point B, and they had to do all sorts of things. Sometimes it was just trying not to film the string it was on.
Yeah.
That's how it worked sometimes, and of course sometimes they just film the string anyway, and you see it later. But the ingenuity that they had to use back then, they
Yeah.
used what they could, what they had for what they could. Um, these days, it's the production I think might be a little more complex, but there's also
Oh,
the abilities are a little more complex too.
yeah. The film is a very new art still, you know?
Hmm.
Like we've been doing it for less like a decade, not like a century,
Hmm.
around a century. It's a very early type of artistic movement. So there's still like every moment there's new things coming up in the industry, you know? Like you gotta adapt really quickly
Mm-hmm.
to that
Right.
because it's still developing at an extremely high pace, you know?
Yeah.
So I mean, one thing that we can mention is the AIs, right? Because like
Right.
they're getting really into the film industry, and we gotta adapt to it. Either we like it or not.
Yeah.
I personally don't, but like I don't have a choice. We gotta adapt to it anyway.
Oh, it's gonna happen.
So
Yeah.
I think that's how a lot of filmmakers uh like had to adapt too quickly,
Yeah.
and maybe that like change in setting of how to make a film could have caused the how the bad films that we see today. I
Yeah.
think maybe I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it does. I think it makes absolute sense. And what about animation? Animated films. Of course,
Oh, I
there's
love them.
so many different ways they make them now. Um, do you think that it's comparable to live action films at this point?
No, I
Mm,
don't think so. But
mm,
also, I don't think an horror movie is comparable to a romance movie. You
mm.
know,
Well, yeah, that's true.
like I don't think any film is comparable to another film. I don't think. I don't know. Because let's take as an example my favorite films of all times, which is Corpse Bride
Hmm.
by Tim Burton.
Right.
That film was ridiculous because it was made out of stop motion,
Yeah.
and it's such a good film.
Yeah.
When I first watched it and I was a child, I never thought it was stop motion. I learned it was stop motion when I started studying film, and I was like, my teacher was like, "What's your favorite film?" I was like, "Corpse Bride," and they're like, "Oh, stop motion." Okay, I was like, "What stop motion?"
I you were totally lost in the immersion at that point. You were believing.
I thought it was like actually animation, you know, like it
Mm,
is animation, but I thought it was like computer animation.
mm, yeah.
It's I,
It. Go ahead.
it's amazing.
Yeah. I I'm a big fan of the traditional animation myself, but then I'm an older fella, and and taste changes as you get older. But um, I would like to see more of the original stuff and less of the sequels.
Mm. Did you see the? Cause I'm goth, right?
Hmm.
And I think the biggest thing that's happening right now in the film goth community, like when you merge film and goth, you created the film goth community.
Right.
I think the biggest thing that's happening right now is the new film they're making of The Crow.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
Uh, and and that has been making me mad for months.
Well, if you see what Signa's got up on the screen, a goth crow VTuber.
I
This
mean, I was clearly because of The Crow, right?
yes, yes. Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, the new Crow movie, I'm very salty about. And as if like aspiring filmmaker, I don't like to be that salty about a trailer, but I am. I feel a little bit bad about being that mad about it because I'm like, oh, I shouldn't be that mad, but also like I should be that mad. You know what
Hmm.
I mean?
Yeah. Well, you're still an enjoyer of films, and if you enjoy the first one, you don't really see a need for it to be redone. Not everything needs to be redone.
Especially considering the circumstances of the first film, right?
Hmm.
Because the actor died on set, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
the whole thing around this film is the fact that Brandon Lee died doing as being the Crow, and I think that's what makes me mad about it. It's not even that there's a remake of it. It's just because I think it's very bad to
Disres-
make a remake of something that happened. I think
yeah.
it's disrespectful. Yeah.
Yeah. Disrespectful is the best way to put it, and there are you're going to have some things that are just inevitable, like Transformers 10. You know, it's going to happen. You just kind of, I mean, when
Yeah, Fast and Furious.
yeah, from Transformers 10, the Fast and Furious, like have a crossover. I'm still waiting for some of those to happen,
It
um,
will at some
but
point.
but when I go and watch a film like that, and I do on occasion, I'm not watching it for the dialogue, or I'm watching it for things to blow up. uh,
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm putting my brain outside, and I'm just going in there to watch the funny special effects and things along those lines. Um, with what you're doing now, and you're wanting to be involved in a film, can you do that at this point? Can you take your brain out and just enjoy the film?
Uh, no.
Oh,
I mean, yes. I mean, maybe. Depends. It depends a lot.
yeah.
Because since I've been like such a fan of films since the start of my life, basically, uh I've been actually enjoying film.
Mm-hmm.
But as more I learn about how to make films and how films are made, I also like every shot I think, oh my god, they use this type of lenses and they use like this angle is representing this thing. But that's not necessarily something that I don't like to think. I actually enjoy watching a film and thinking it.
mm-hmm.
You know, like thinking about it.
Yeah.
So it's still enjoyable. I just can't turn my brain off.
Wow.
If
It,
that
it's
makes sense.
it's enjoyable in a different way.
I think that's why I like anime
Mm.
because I never touched on anime. I never studied about anime.
Mm-hmm.
So my brain doesn't think when I'm watching anime, you know?
My mind just doesn't think. I just
Yeah, my mind just turns off.
I just point in a general direction, and wherever the body goes, that's where I go
Yeah,
at this
just
point.
like drooling watching the anime.
Or drooling over anything. I'm old enough now where I can get away with it. Um, the the um, the channel itself. Have you got any big plans coming up for your channel, or are you going to keep rolling along like you're doing?
I'm thinking of stuff. I'm moving countries really soon,
Oh
so I
my.
can't think too big right now.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I wanted to get a little bit of like lore
Mm-hmm.
on the character of my character. Uh, I mean, of course, again, I like film, so
Right.
lore is important to me.
Yeah. I want to see this
uh,
goth crow lore that you're going to be coming up with.
I mean, it's definitely inspired on of the crow itself, right?
Right.
The Eric Draven.
Yes.
But I think my main point of being a VTuber is besides getting my two communities involved, because I speak a lot of languages,
Right.
and I feel like um, how do I put it? When I lived in Brazil, I'm Brazilian.
Mm-hmm.
When I lived in Brazil, the outside community wasn't that big,
Right.
and there's starting to be a lot of Brazilian VTubers, but they don't speak English.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's not this connection between the two communities.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to be that sort of bridge, I guess.
Oh yeah.
That's why in my streams, I speak both languages.
Yeah.
Mostly English,
Yeah.
but whenever there's someone speaking in either Spanish or Portuguese in chat, I'll answer them in that language
Mm-hmm.
because I like to think that I was blessed enough to have the opportunity to learn English and be able to speak English and be able to interact with people that speak English, but a lot of people don't, you know?
Oh yeah. A lot of people don't, and
So
I kick myself
yeah,
all the time.
especially.
I kick myself all the time for not
Hmm?
learning a language when I was younger. Um, I would have loved to be able to understand a couple of different languages, but I can barely do English right now.
I mean, me too.
Yeah, yeah, but and Spanish and Portuguese are to someone who doesn't speak them, they're somewhat similar, but there are plenty of differences. And
Between Portuguese and Spanish?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and
I think people who speak Portuguese can understand whoever speaks Spanish, but not the opposite.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think that's the most like way to explain it.
yeah. That's the best way to explain it. And to be able to be a bridge between that sort of things will certainly, I think, help in the future. It makes you more versatile in
Yeah,
what you're able to
and
do.
it's also like video games are so expensive, you know? They're
Mm,
so expensive.
right.
And I never had the money to buy video games that much. So what I did was watch VTubers play them. So I didn't have to buy them, you know?
Exactly, exactly. And to kind of be able to do that and show people what it's all about, that sounds like it's going to be pretty fun. And I hope that once you get things settled down, that we can get you back on and talk about what you got planned for the channel, and talk about a few
Yeah.
more films, because I think that's I think that's interesting that today that someone is is so interested in film that they really want to pursue it and study it. That's really neat. I wish you all the best with that.
Thank you so much. It's gonna be really tough, but I'm really into it, so I gotta do it. I don't care what people say it's gonna be hard. I know it's gonna be hard, but I like it, so I don't care.
Yeah, I can hear
and
you.
I, and I
Yeah, I can hear
and I
you.
wish that I will still be a VTuber and like be able to share my experience getting into the film industry as a VTuber. You know,
Oh, that'll be cool.
because yeah, because I don't want to stop being a VTuber. I just don't want to have it as my main occupation, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And share it with people, it's interesting.
It's gonna be fun to watch. We're gonna keep an eye on you. We're gonna keep an eye on you from up
Thank you.
here. Um, pleasure to talk with you. It's obvious that what your love for for the film industry and that type of thing. It's always refreshing to talk with someone who is passionate about that sort of thing, and you definitely are. And I'm waiting. I'll be waiting to hear your name when the Oscars come up.
You will, I hope. I hope.
But we'll talk to you again here soon.
One day, maybe.
When you get yourself
Thank
moved
you
in
so much.
and get going, we'll get you back up for an update. Okay?
Okay, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for listening to Eric Loy Interviews. Join us again next time when we talk to another member of the always interesting VTuber community.